Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to another episode of the Going Over podcast. Doodly doot on the diggity damn StreamYard. Quack, quack, quack. Do a little bit of quack. Give the StreamYard, hey, subscribers, subscribe. I'm your neighborhood friendly coach, trainer, promoter, 43-year-old professional wrestler, Zach, prime time, who suck it, Reeb, and I'm joined alongside my podcast partner, whoop, wrong again, whoop, that baby was right, the 7-foot wrecking ball, Paul Isadora. Paul, what is up on the late night?
Oh man, we're trying to squeeze one in, man. I feel like I got stuff going on this weekend. You've got some stuff going on this weekend as well. So yeah, so just we're trying to squeeze one in here, man. So that's it, man. We're trying to get one done. But man, I've been getting a lot of really good feedback about the podcast. Some people giving suggestions that we should, hey, what do you think about what if you guys did watch like live watch-alongs? It's like because some people they watch wrestling and they don't have anybody to watch wrestling with. So if we added to our podcast a watch-along that people could feel like they're watching the podcast or watching the wrestling with us, and we will be their friends. 1 hour, and we'll be their friends, right? So I thought that was cool. Zack and Paul, we'll put our arm around you, right? I'll put my arm around you, Zach. Right? So I don't know. So I thought it was like it's cool feedback, but it's also just a really good indication that some people are watching the podcast, listening to it. And this guy was telling me about how a friend of his went to WrestleMania, and he's like, so what'd you think? You were there, right? And I was like, no, I wasn't there. It's like, oh, why not, man? I thought you were a fan of wrestling. And I was like, oh, yeah, I am a fan of wrestling, but I just think about the hassle going into all of that stuff. It's like, you hear about ticketing fees and all types of stuff like that on top of the price of the ticket, on top of traveling there, on top of getting in and out of the building. And I saw somebody a photo from their $400 seats, and I'm like, what am I looking at right now? Like, I could see the WrestleMania sign, but I'm just like, I'm trying to figure out like where's the ring in relation to where these people are sitting. And I'm like, I had a perfect spot, man, right on my couch. I got to see everything. I saw everything perfectly, right? So it's like, I don't know, man. Is the experience of going to these live events, these big caliber events, is the experience worth the money, the hassle, the how far away you're going to see it? Like I was watching somebody that was saying that they were so far away that they had to use their phone to zoom in so they could see what was going on. Because I heard at one point they turned off the big monitor, So
I had a student today tell me they went to WrestleMania 2 nights, and for 2 nights, I guess last minute seats or whatever was $400 for 2 nights. And I guess it was a pretty shitty view, definitely a shitty view, but I think people go for the nostalgia. I was there. I think the last live event that I went to for WWE was at the old Arco Arena, and Stone Cold Steve Austin was in the middle of the ring with Stephanie McMahon and Paul Heyman, and they were singing excuse me, they were singing "Wind Beneath My," "You Are the Wind Beneath My Ring," and then Kurt Angle's music hit, and he came out with that big milk truck and got out with the hose and hosed everyone. Everyone was slipping and sliding everywhere except Austin. He was just standing there with the smoking skull belt on his shoulder. He was the only one not slipping and sliding everywhere. And then Angle got on top of the milk truck, and Austin beered it with a couple cartons of milk. And I was like, my ears were ringing for a few days. So they were good seats, but I mean, sometimes the experience, man, sometimes the experience, the vibration, the noise, everything, I don't know. $400, right? So it's a student of mine, and I know what that student pays a month to train to be a wrestler. And he just drove 9 hours to Vegas to deal with all that bullshit for 2 nights, obviously food, obviously lodging, and he paid $400 for 2 nights to watch an event. And he's paying nowhere near $400 a month to train 8 to 10 times a month. And I find this stuff absolutely ridiculous that people will tell you they don't have money or they're struggling, but then you will see them in $1,000 seat with John Cena retirement wristbands, a hat, a towel, and a t-shirt going, oh, you're
Right.
broke because you spent $1,000 on tickets and $800 on John Cena's all new merchandise get up in Brussels, Belgium.
Right. Yeah, so I don't know, man. It was an eye-opening experience because like I've said, like I've never been to a big event like that. I've been to small shows, like they had one when they opened this new arena up here in Lake Tahoe. So I went there. I saw Adam there, like just, but it was someone, so you get free tickets, right? So um we went to that event. It was a 4,000 seat arena, and it was pretty full. And it was just like we went. I took my daughters with me. They enjoy it. It's just an opportunity. It's a bonding experience, but it was an hour drive. Not too bad getting in and out. But I just can't imagine. The driving that many hours, and I saw like lines of people like waiting to get into different experiences and things like that. Like, here I am right here. And then they're like way up there, hundreds of yards in front of them, just waves of people. That's where the entrance is. It's like, how long is it taking you to get into this place? Like, I understand, man. It's we're kind of talking bad about this, but we want people to come to our shows and watch pro wrestling where we're at. But obviously it's not the
I
it's
don't
not the
I
it's
don't
not
think leaving our show and finding parking for our show is going to be. I went to WrestleMania in Santa Clara, and to be honest with you, I might as well have jumped off the Bay Bridge. Hopefully the net would have caught me and broke my arms and my legs, and they could have fished me out like one of those little claw grabbers at the pizza place. But it's like, you might as well. You know what I mean? You might as well, because you're going to wake up the next day and you're going to be like, man, I spent so much money. I couldn't see shit. I love it when people are surprised. They're like, oh my God, it was sheer hell leaving the place. Yeah. 60 to 80,000 people all leaving WrestleMania at one time. You think that's going to be the same as getting there?
right,
These
right,
people are showing up at different times to tailgate, do whatever, show up for, like you said, the experiences. Oh, it was hell leaving. Yeah, I bet. I bet it sure was. I've,
right,
I've been there one time, and I don't ever want to go back there again. It's like it's
right,
like it's like an airplane. Like,
right,
man, I used to fly on them all the time when I was going around wrestling, and then I hopped on one a year or so back to go to Dallas and Fort Worth for the Taco Festival, and I'm up in the air going, "What am I doing here?
right,
What am I doing? I might as well just have why don't I have a parachute? Why am I not jumping out of this thing for my first skydiving experience? Because I would rather jump out of this thing than sit on this thing and fly as long as I got a parachute. I mean, my chances are the same either way. I'm surprised we haven't seen people get just trampled to death at
right.
WrestleMania. I'm surprised that the deaths leaving WrestleMania have been we haven't heard much about that. So at least
Exactly.
we could
Yeah,
say those fans are safe.
exactly. Man, I had so many things going on. Like I think I might have given you just a slight idea, but just over this past weekend, three people um, canceled, right,
Oh,
on
I
the
saw.
show that's coming up. And then yesterday, another person canceled.
I saw.
And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I'm looking back at how long ago I contacted these people. It was like a month ago. Hey, are you available? And it was like one guy was like, yeah, let me check with my partner. And then, yeah, hey, we're all good. And I was like, perfect, man, that's awesome. Um, you know, these are the things that we talk about. We talk about people. I've never met these guys, but they trained. They're trained by somebody that I respect. So I was like, we're having a rumble where we can get some more guys in there, and we can see how they uh, how they present themselves with our crowd. Maybe introduce them, because I always feel like there's certain people that the crowd just gravitates towards, right? And you're thinking about, man, I want to give these young guys a chance, right? So that was exactly what I said. I said, hey, I want to just see, what the crowd thinks of you, and give you an opportunity. And then I'm thinking about like, plans for the following show. Like, hey, if it goes well, maybe these are a couple guys that I can use for the next show as well. And then they cancel, and then I was like, my first reaction when someone cancels is always kind of like is everything okay, right? No, it's not. I don't jump to that real quick.
Oh,
No,
I need therapy.
right,
I'm sorry.
right.
I feel
It's
you.
yeah. For the first thing is, are you okay? Like, you're not hurt. It's like you're thinking these guys are young in the business. Um, Things probably aren't going super smooth in matches. We've watched some of the stuff, and you think, oh, it definitely needs polish, right? These guys are real green. So I'm thinking maybe somebody got hurt, whatever. So that's my first thing. Is everything okay? And it's like, yeah, we just double booked ourselves. And I'm thinking, like, how'd you do that? Like, I remember when you're getting bookings, man, you're just so excited about it, and you're just like, you got your calendar, you get all your bookings written down, and so I'm thinking, like, how do you double book yourself? That seems ridiculous. So, and I think I told you, like, my response was very much like, I'm disappointed. Like, I can't believe that this is happening. The person that trained you is somebody that I respect, and I absolutely, I'm thinking, like, this is not going to fly, right? If somebody that you trained did that to me, and I called you up and said, hey, this person canceled on me, they said they double booked themselves, I'm sure you'd be like, I'm gonna rip that dude's ass, right? Like, that's not the way that you do business. So that was irritating. And then it was somebody else that called me up, that was asking to be on the show. And I said, I'll let you know if I can get you on. And I said, it's always a great idea to come do ring crew, right? It's an awesome networking opportunity. And, you can always come and network and do ring crew. And I know how it goes. Inevitably, there's going to be a cancellation. There's going to be a spot for this person. But I don't, I'm big on under promise, over deliver, right? I don't want it to be the other way around, where I get someone's hopes up and then they get here and I go, oh, sorry, man, I miscalculated, or whatever. I want it to be like, hey, probably not going to be able to get you on the show. And then they get here and I say, hey, there's a cancellation, you're going to be on. So that was frustrating. And then it was like, then yesterday it was the same type of thing. And it was a part of a tag team. So immediately I'm like getting a hold of the other guy. And the other guy's like, no, I'm coming. I'm there. He's coming with Preston Price, who also gave me the same type of thing. Like, absolutely, I'll be there. And I'm bringing this other guy with me. So I was like, okay, that's the reason that you're on the show, is Preston Price, is because it's a priority. You understand the value of coming here, and every single time he has gotten in the ring and worked out with us before the show starts. He's thirsting for knowledge, wanting to get better. So to say that it's a disappointment of things that are going down right now is an understatement for sure. So I don't know. You obviously have cancellations all the time. You have to shuffle things and get it going. But
Shit. Some of my cancellations are bigger name talent. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
like,
Yeah.
like guys that I was looking forward to working, like experienced guys. You're gonna have that, and you got to realize that we didn't have the, here I go back to it. We didn't have the pleasure of a double booking back in the day because
Right.
there wasn't a, you know, there wasn't a whole lot of places to work, man, few and far between. And we talked about this. We talked about modern wrestling. We talked about basketball. It's not the defensive game where you're going to see the Pistons and the Bulls or the Celtics and the Lakers and not, knocking each other around, the Celtics and the 76ers. We're not going to see them knocking each other down because the game got soft. The game got soft. It's a 3-point shootout competition. Oh, you touch me, I'm going to flop across the floor. Baseball. There's a timer on the game now. There's a pitch count, 17 seconds. You can only pitch a certain amount. Football, it's glorified, two-hand touch with a little bit of knockdown. So the game changes a little bit, and we say, oh, it's evolving, but it's really de-evolving, right? Music, this music is good. Your guys' music sucks. No, your guys' music sucks. And it's just the opinion of everything else. But what I'm getting at is there's so much damn wrestling going on. There's just not so much damn wrestling going on, with AEW, Ring of Honor, TNA, New Japan, WWE, NXT, SmackDown, Raw. There's this LFG. I was like, man, there's so much programming. Evolve. There's so much programming. Like, does the moves even matter anymore? Because there's so many moves. And that's the beauty of it. No, the moves don't fucking matter anymore. But you come to a rumble, right? And I mean, this is just the facts. If I'm thinking about it, you're driving farther, probably getting paid less or not paid. You're going to do a rumble. It's an opportunity. Or there's this company that you're probably closely working with where you're going to get paid and you're going to have maybe a featured match, or you guys are going to have actual matches on the card. And to these young kids, it becomes a no-brainer. It's like, do I go all the way up here and take this drive and do this for a rumble, or do I go down here and wrestle a match on a show where maybe we work closer and more with this company because there's so many companies. It's like, I was chatting with Maynard the other day. I hadn't talked to him in a while, and he sent me a message, and he was messaging me about a student. And it's a guy that trains a little bit here and there with me. And he said, hey, man, I'm not trying to get canceled. He was joking, or step on your toes, man. But I told this guy he needs to train more. And I said, yeah, no shit he does. You know what I mean? Like, good call, buddy. But he's not in the wrong for saying this. And I will admit that he's not in the wrong for saying this. But they got 46 shows. I counted when the thing popped up, 46 shows from their building right there. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. I can't even think of back in the day a company having more than 20 shows, let alone 46 of them in the same building. It was absolutely nuts to me to see the schedule in advance. I'm like, just that alone is going to take a lot of the green talent, a lot of the young guys away from anything we're doing, because that's guaranteed they're working there over and over and over and over again. And new lucha companies and other companies are popping up, and everybody's got a card. Everybody's running multiple times. We sit here and we talk about it all the time. And that's why it's so important to create your own talent. It's watered down, right? So everything gets watered down. And these guys, they go, I want to be on top. I want to be a star. I want to make it in this industry. And the truth of the matter is, it's so much easier now to be seen by everybody, right? Like back in the day, it was tough. It was hard. Like, people don't really understand what we did back in the day, because we actually were all under. There was a lot less promotions. There was a lot less wrestlers. You had to be more of a seasoned wrestler to be on a card. And you either made it or you didn't make it. And what I mean by that is not to the big time, but like you walked out here with all pro wrestling, big time wrestling. Like you either made it on the cream of the crop and you could swim in the deep end when you got thrown in, or you just ended up wrestling at a smaller promotion and you got lost in the shuffle and we never heard of you again. Because nowadays there's so many opportunities, so many chances, so many promotions, so many shows, so many matches, so many wrestlers, trainings everywhere around the corner. Everybody's on the card. It's exhausting, man. And you get to this point where you're just like, I got to focus on myself and I got to do what I'm doing and I got to have my own people. And if these guys make it cool, it's good advertisement, but you really can't get caught up in the booking drama of what's going on, because there's a lot of shit going on, Paul. Like, that's the truth. Is it bad for business? It is, because at the end of the day, and people could get offended, and if you think we're talking about you, we probably are. We say it all the time, but if and when right there in Reno that picks up again and it becomes a hot spot and a place people want to go, you know, I don't think people mean to cancel because they think, oh, I'm disrespecting this guy or something like that. But there's a chance that down the road they might want to work here again, and you got a bad, sour taste in your mouth about it.
Of course. And it's, you hear the phrase, you only have one chance to make a first impression. And when your first impression is canceling on a show with somebody that you like, I told these guys, like, I've never even met you in person, and you're canceling on a show. Like, I was trying to give you an opportunity, because I've talked about it dozens of times. Somebody cancels, you fill them in with someone, and inevitably that person that fills in does a great job. So you just completely forget about the other person. We actually had someone reach out to us this weekend and was like, "Hey, just double checking to know if I'm on the Run-A-Mucka card in Winnemucca." And I was like, "Well, I sent you all of the dates in November, and you didn't respond." So I just moved on. I figured that you didn't want to be a part of it, and so I moved on. So it's one of those deals. It's like, if the what have you done for me lately, or if you're behind, I missed out on this guy, so I'm moving forward with somebody else, and now I'm focused on what I'm doing. But I mean, to get back to we didn't have those opportunities to be double booked, right? I just remember, like, if you worked twice on a weekend, you felt like you were working a lot, right? If you worked a Saturday, Sunday, or you worked a Friday, Saturday, and God help you if you worked a Friday, Sunday, and you had to, like, oh, well, do I travel back home then to travel there, or do I stay 2 nights somewhere? What do I do? But yeah, it's like, I remember, you're talking about BTW. I feel like they ran on Fridays, and you had APW that ran on Saturdays, and SPW ran Sundays, the third Sunday of every month, right? So depending on where you were getting booked, you might have a couple opportunities per month to get booked if you weren't getting booked outside of the Bay Area. But the way that you talk about things being watered down reminded me of, I was on a plane going to Portland, Oregon, and I ran into some people that knew my wife, and they're like, "Oh, hey, are you Coach P?" And I said, "Yeah." And I said, like, how do you know, or whatever? "Oh, my daughter was in your wife's fourth grade class." And I was like, "Oh, cool, man!" Like, kind of talking to him and stuff, and I was doing a college recruiting job at the time, and they were telling me that they were going to Oregon to watch their daughter play at Oregon State. So I was like, "Oh, well, playing softball at Oregon State was a pretty big deal. That a bigger conference, real competitive. Like, how did you get that opportunity?" and the dad starts going into what he referred to as daddy ball, where somebody would their kid would be on a team, but they wouldn't be getting enough playing time. So they would basically just go, well, I think my daughter should be playing, so I'm going to start my own team, and we're going to put our team together, and so my daughter can play some more, right? And I understand that from a parent's point of view, like you want your kid to get to the opportunity to play and things like that, but it's become so watered down. Like I've got kids at my school that I talk to that I'm like, these 4 or 5 girls, I was like, you guys are all pretty good, right? And they're like, we're all pretty good. And I said, do you guys all play on the same team? It's like, oh no, we play, this person plays on this team and I play on this team and she plays on this team. And I was like, what'd be awesome is if all of you guys were playing on the same team, then you can go to national tournaments and you can be competitive. But instead, you have, 20 really good girls in our area. If they were all on one team, they could go be competitive. But instead of that, you split them up on, 10 different teams. So you got two good girls on each team, and you go somewhere and you get the shit kicked out of you. And then so I wonder, is that what's going on? Like if we had shows that just had, and I mentioned this the other day about when we were talking about your big show of the year, we were going into WrestleMania, and I was talking about what if it was you have to be at a certain level to get onto this big show, right? And if you're not at that certain level, it's kind of well, hey, sorry, man, maybe next time, maybe next year you can get on the big show, right? But it's not just let's put as many people as we can on the show because it's our big show. Like let's get everybody, let everybody get a little taste of this. Is that what it's becoming? Is it becoming so watered down where you have only one or two good wrestlers on a card, and then the rest
For
of the
sure.
matches are shit, you know?
For sure.
Versus I remember back in the day where you'd have um, you know Adam and Oliver John and Thatcher and yourself, Luxury. Um, you'd have a lot of the older school APW guys, the Malachis and the Lusters. You'd have all of these like high level talents all on one card, and it was like, wow, man, what an awesome show to go to watch really good wrestling. But then you'd get the opposite of that, and you'd go somewhere and you'd go, wow, man, uh, there wasn't one good match on that entire card, and I think that's what kind of sucks. Not that it's happening, but that people are okay with it happening, right? They don't care that they're on a shitty card or that they had a shitty match. All they really care about is to be able to tell their buddy, "Hey, guess what I'm doing? I'm a pro wrestler." Right?
Oh,
That's the biggest deal rather than I'm a good wrestler or hey, come check this card out. Because I think one of the biggest things I was having a conversation with a fan about ticket prices. It's like, oh well, I went to this show and the tickets were only $10. And I was like, well, I hope you bought some merchandise because if the tickets were only $10 and there's only room for 100 people there, those wrestlers aren't getting paid very well, right? So, because generally, we always talk about all the different factors. There's the insurance, there's the building rental, there's all the little ins and outs of running a wrestling show, and then you're thinking about $110 tickets, and you got if you got 16 guys on a card, you're thinking like, well, fuck, man, how much are these guys getting paid? I'm sure that's where the hot dog and a handshake type payout comes out. But it's just, you know, talking about ticket prices. And I'm like, if you come to a show, like I've always had the opinion, like you come to my show, whatever you paid for your ticket, I'm 100%, um, I'm going to believe you're getting your money's worth, right? You're going to come to my show, you're going to leave and go, you know what, that was worth the $20, $30, $40 that I spent on a ticket, right? And if it's not like that, then I'm not doing a good job.
What's in that cup? What's in that
What
cup
cup?
you drink? What's in that cup you're drinking tonight? You are a talkative motherfucker. I'll tell you that. I'm loving it right now. I'm like, this guy's going tonight. Daddy ball, man. Daddy's balls. That sounded so funny when you said it. You're like, he got it from Daddy Ball. I was like, I was done there for a minute thinking about that. Yeah, well, let's be honest, right? Are people doing their taxes? Are people really using insurance? Are they using somebody else's insurance? Are they getting the venue for free? Are they doing split revenue? Are they promising people to get, you do what you can do, man. And sometimes I've seen some of these promotions and I've talked to talent on it that I've used. And I said, hey, man, I know you lived in another state for a little while, but you're wrestling for this place. How'd you get here? Oh, they pay my flight. They pay for my motel at this really nice motel. And then they pay me this much money to wrestle. And I go, Jesus Christ. I go, what the ticket prices were and the amount of fans I saw at the show, they could just pay you, but they had 30 wrestlers on the show and you are the entire revenue. And then I've heard companies go, well, we got a streaming app, or we make our money online, baby, social media. And I'm like, no, I don't. I don't think you do. I think that you need the ticket sales. I think you need the concession stands. You need the merchandise. You need all these things to produce, man, because it's independent wrestling. We're still promoters. We're still trying to fill the seats. Okay, I sold 250 tickets. It's a 600 seat venue. I've got enough food here to feed an army. I'm going to go ahead and give out the rest of those damn tickets because they weren't going to sell anyways, right? They're filling up the building and they're there, and I've got food for sale. So how about I make an extra $1,200-$1,300 on food that I wouldn't have made if I wouldn't have put these people in the building, and I've got a packed house, and that's advertisement. Selling out is advertisement in itself. The best form. There's no better advertisement than saying, hey, buddy, we are sold out. Can't let you in the building at capacity. If capacity is 1,000 and you sold 600 tickets and gave away 400, and paying customers are coming up to the door going, hey, and you go, sold out, man. Guess what those, 200-300 people that are trying to get in the door in this instance are going to do? They're going to, we got to get when's the next one? We got to get our tickets early. And then now next time, instead of selling 600 tickets and giving 400 away, you sold 750 to 800 and you only gave 200 away. It's padding the gate. It's building it up. That's what a promoter's job is. Your job is to get the word out around town that there is this event going on. Your job is to make sure the seats are full, make sure the vendors have customers to buy from them. The sponsor tables have customers to check out their product. Your job is to make sure there is a full house of wrestlers. I mean, there's a full house of customers and fans for these wrestlers to get over. No, I'm not sitting here saying give away the house. I'm not, but I'm just saying, if you got, I've seen so many promoters that still have the posters, and I'm like, hey man, you got any posters of the show since I'm on it? And they open their car door, or they open up a bag and they got 100 still in the package. And I go, what, can I break the seal on this? And they're like, yeah, sure, man, the show's already started. I'm like, why didn't you put these up? Like, I just kind of ran out of time, man. And I'm like, man, those color posters are like $1 a pop. You got like 150 there. You blew $150 and you didn't put them up. Oh, I didn't have time. You didn't have time to make money. You had time to pay and run this show and lose money, but you didn't have time to make money. Why in the holy fuck did you purchase all this stuff if you had no intention of getting it out there. And that's what goes on with the wrestling too. That goes on with the production and everything else. Like I was watching some stuff from Mania, and I was watching the guy that was on our first prospect show, the big kid from San Diego, Matthias, and it was Knox Pro, and he was coming out the big WrestleMania entrance, and I was like, okay, they're doing this show. They got the ring in the middle of this big baseball stadium or whatever, and I'm like, okay, cool. They're practicing their entrance with their name on the screen back there. I'm like, and then I saw the actual live show, and it still looked like they were practicing their entrance before the show started because there was nobody there.
Right.
And we talked about it last week, and no offense, do what you got to do, but people went to Vegas to perform in Vegas because that's where WrestleMania was at. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, I'm in Las Vegas where WrestleMania is, and I'm wrestling at a show in Las Vegas because WWE is in Las Vegas. Well, I'm going to tell you guys something because some people took pictures with other guys. Jacob Fatu, he was in Las Vegas. He was in Las Vegas getting hit with moves and having 63,000 plus stand on their feet chanting his name for getting hit by a move. And then Jacob Fatu walked out of Las Vegas about 50 to 60 pounds heavier with a clean win over a big star in front of 60,000. And the money comes with that. You know what I mean? He's making money. He's virtually a main event mega star now. 2 years removed from NorCal and Bay Area, California wrestling. But that's what I'm saying is you leave and go to these places on a destination. You're like, and you tell people that you're like, man, I was in Vegas wrestling on WrestleMania weekend. And it's like, that's cool. That's cool. But then here's a guy who took a different approach. And he's not just wrestling at some show on WrestleMania weekend. He's the star on the show of WrestleMania. So it does. It's the growth. It's where these guys go. It's the effort that they put in. You can travel all over the place, man. You can get on an airplane and fly yourself out. You can put yourself wherever you want to put yourself, get in a car, hit 42 of the 50 states if you want. You can go wrestle in the Panama City Canal if they got a tent with a ring set up there, if that's what you want to do. But that's your personal hobby. That's what you want to do. It's where do you want to go? I've had guys call me up and go, hey, man, get me on at AEW or talk to this person for me to get you on there. I'm like, even if I did ask a favor or call up somebody and say, hey, man, I got this guy, you'd still have to fucking show up. You know what I mean? Like, what do you want me to do? You want me to call up Brian Cage or Thunder Rosa or Shotzi Blackheart or Will Hawk? You want me to call those people up and be like, hey, I got this guy that wants to work. And they're like, oh, cool. We're in Tacula, Mexico this weekend. And I go, hey, man, they're in Tacula, Mexico. And he goes, cool. Well, when are they going to be in Sacramento? And I go, oh, now you're a picky fuck. You know what I mean? Like, how about you get in your vehicle or get an airplane ticket and fly out there? And then I can say, hey, guys, he's there. And they go, okay, cool. Let's get. And then they say, hey, man, this guy came all the way out here. Like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to wrap something up in a bow? Do you want me to personally throw you over my shoulder and Forrest Gump you all the way to the show and be like, hi, Jenny, can I get this wrestler in the locker room so he can have a chance to be on your show? It's like, no, you got to put in the work, man. I had to get on the airplane. I had to deal with the shitty ass 10 straight nights getting the shit beat out of me. And people go, oh, why didn't you go back? I'll tell you why I went back. Because I didn't want to get the living shit beat out of me for 6 weeks and fight with people in a country that I didn't speak the language in when I was making more money running one show a month just down the road from my house. And that's the choice I made. But if you want it, go get it, man. And that's where I'm going at with this is, hey, if you want to take the trip to Las Vegas to watch WrestleMania, or if it's in New Orleans next year, if it's a destination, if this is what you enjoy, go do it. But too many people, it's like a first date, right? Hey, let's go on a first date. And you go, man, I really like that chick. Well, guess what? Now you got to pursue that chick, right? Because if you go on a first date with that chick and then she's just like, oh yeah, I'll marry you right now. I'll bend over and let you put it right in my butt, and everything's gonna be okay. And I'll feed you grapes and rub your toes, and you're gonna be like, nah, I'll hit you up if I'm bored or something. You know what I mean? Or if you're there, or if you're in the area. But if that chick is like, she's funny, she's smoking hot, she great personality, you had a blast, you're gonna be like, okay, I gotta pursue this chick, right? So that first impression, treat it like a first date in this business. Don't, and we call it whoring it out. You're whoring yourself out. Don't be a whore. Don't be a whore, because a whore gets a little bit of money. You know what I mean? Whore gets a little bit of money. A slut does it for free. But an escort, oh man, be a wrestling escort, man, because a wrestling escort, they get paid the big bucks, and they don't have to be a slut or a whore. They just get to stand there and look pretty and accompany you. You know what I mean? They're like, oh yeah, I got paid triple the money and I didn't have to do anything. All I had to do was wear this dress and look good. So I mean, to each their own, however you want to go in the business. Some people, everybody has to know you have to know somebody. Even if you meet somebody and they like you on the way, you still have to know somebody to get any job in the United States of America. There's my ramble. Fuck off.
Right. Well, no, I mean, I think about how excited everyone was to brag about wrestling in Las Vegas during WrestleMania week, right? And just like you said, it wasn't because someone flew you down there, right? It's not like someone's like, "Hey, I'm having a show during WrestleMania week, and I want you to be on my show, so I'm going to fly you down here and pay you to wrestle." It was a lot of people that were down there. I don't know how many people I saw with the "gonna be in Las Vegas," open for bookings type of thing, which I think it's a positive and a negative, right? It gives people the impression that you are desperate, right? You're desperate for a booking, right? Hey, I'm going to be in this town. If anyone needs an extra wrestler, I'll be there. And I think it's always pretty funny when you see someone list all their open dates. It's like, hey, that looks like most of the weekends throughout that month or whatever it is. It's like, okay, so you've got 6 open weekends over a couple of month period. It's like it's because people aren't booking you. It's not because people don't know you're available. It's because they don't want to book you. You're not valuable to them. um, but when you're willing to fly yourself in somewhere and you're already there, then it's like, oh well, yeah, sure, we can toss you on the show. You're already going to be here. Let's do that. We'll toss you on that show. So it did make me laugh. I mean, I don't know. And then obviously there's some people that had probably bigger opportunities, bigger companies, probably got paid a lot of money to be there. And I think it happened. It's been happening since this whole 2-day WrestleMania thing happened, right? When they make it a big production where it's a big deal. We're gonna run a ton of different shows in this town during this week, um, and we'd be foolish to think that these venues aren't taking advantage of that and going, hey, yeah, normally it's $600 to rent the venue for the day, but it's supply and demand. So it's going to run you 1,200 to run in the venue, right?
Well, I wonder though. I wonder on that. Sorry to cut you off, Paul, but do you think like an open baseball field where there's nothing going on, they might just let you set up for entertainment to have entertainment going on around there, you know what I mean? So it might go back to what you were saying, but it might not be as expensive as you think to run at some of these places because they are looking for entertainment to go along with everything that's going on. I just a little thought, sorry.
No, and I think that that's a great point. But also keep in mind that, let's just say the baseball stadium, right? If they're going to let someone do an event in there, now they have to come out of pocket to pay people to work, concessions, all the stuff, right? So I mean, I think it's probably a little bit of a give and take, but I can see it being an opportunity because you got to know that not just one person came up with that idea. Like, hey, there's nothing going on in the baseball stadium. We'll be the only people that approach them, right? I think that there's probably got to be things like that. There's only so many venues that are large enough, to hold a wrestling show within a certain area. High enough ceilings, enough chairs. Like, we think about all these different factors. I just had a guy talking to me last night about, hey, I think I have a venue that you guys can run shows in, and he starts showing me photos of it, and I was like, how high is that ceiling? He's like, oh, it's got to be at least 15 feet high. There's these pillars going through there. They're probably 11 feet, but in between, it's 15 feet high in between. I was like, okay, well, fuck, man. I'm thinking about, if you have your regular ring, the top rope is got to be 8 feet off the ground. So then by the time I stand up in there, there's 15 feet right there. It's like, what can we do right there?
Low
It's like,
boy.
right. That was the first thought. I was like, oh well, how many companies run with the low boy? And
Low
I think
boy
that,
with a 30-man battle royal. Let's go.
there you go. If we could get the 12-foot low boy in there, we could get more chairs, right? So, but you know what? I was thinking about when you were talking about giving away free tickets, and I remember people giving me a hard time for having kids for free, right? Kids come in for free. I'm like, oh, you can sell that seat. And it's like, yeah, but most of the time those kids aren't coming without a parent, right? So you give a free seat away for a kid, and then they have to bring their parent, or they bring both of their parents, and then of course they're going to get hungry while they're there, right? So now you're going to sell this family a couple hot dogs, some nachos, sodas, waters, whatever, candy. So just like you said, man, it's seats you weren't going to sell anyway. So let's give those tickets to somebody. Let's fill the venue, because a full venue might not generate the money that the seat cost, but it might also generate money at the snack bar, where you probably are making 200% on everything that you sell. So the profit margin at the snack bar is fairly high, even though you didn't sell that $10 seat. There,
Special needs, man. I mean,
right,
I mean, hopefully that's the word I'm using right for it right now. Because I know back
right.
in my day, we would have thrown a hard R out there. You know what I mean? We would have been, but special needs, and they love them, man. You know what I mean? You know what? It's like Shane Gillis said, man. Every person, people with Down syndrome. I trained a ref with Down syndrome. People with Down syndrome are happy, bro. People with
Right.
Down syndrome, they love two things, man. They love John Cena and they love tits. You know what I mean? And it's like special needs loves professional wrestling. The YMCA loves, churches. You can give bundles of these tickets away to people that wouldn't be able to go to this programming regardless. Foster kids, is another way. Businesses, when you're around town and you're putting up posters and you're putting little flyers on the counters, if you do that, Give them to the employees and the people at the businesses that allow you just naturally to put this stuff up and promote you and keep them up. Be like, hey man, you got any, your employees want some tickets to the show? I got some general admission tickets. You guys can come check out the show, man. And in turn, you want the town, you want the businesses to come out and see a big crowd, because guess what that's going to do? They're going to want to sponsor. They're going to want to be a part of this, man. It's about growing with the community. I'm with the city of Red Bluff, the city of Oroville, the community centers, the convention centers, River Valley High School. I'm with the Downtown Business Association here in town, the Tri-Counties Community Center with the youth program, other high schools. I am involved in the community, heavily involved in the community everywhere I go when I'm running. And that's how we're running this thing, man. I've been told that my whole life. Get involved in the community, get involved in the community. And I wasn't involved in the community. I was running a show in the community, but I did not have the community involved. I mean, we're doing salmon festivals, we're doing taco festivals, we're doing summer strolls, we're doing Christmas strolls, we're doing things that you get paid money to do, to entertain. That's what these cities will do for you too. They'll be like, oh, can we set up our ring and do a show here? No. You want us to do a show here? Pay us a chunk of money to do the show here, and we'll dog and pony show it for you all day long. Whatever you want, we'll give you entertainment, and we're going to give you that entertainment at a cost, because we're running a business here at the end of the day. Like, if people think for a second that I've been in business for 26 years and I don't make money, that person ate way too many paint chips. You know what I mean? As a small child, as they would say in Tommy Boy, I could not be in business for 26 years, run a training facility or shows, because I run shows, man. I run shows where you got to pay deposits, you got to pay insurance, the whole Megillah, you know what I mean? So to be in business this long, there's got to be some type of financial grossing, coming in the door, profit coming in the door to sustainably keep something going, man. So you see companies that just run from one venue or their own place, and you see companies that start up or they stop for a while and then they come back under different names, under different ownership, under all this different stuff. That's because business gets bad, man. There's bad people in business that don't want to do it. And you have to realize you're going to lose some money, man. You're going to lose some money. There's going to be some tough times out there on the road. But if you work on your body, you eat right, you buy good gear, you go ahead and train hard and continue to learn from quality instructors and other people in the right places. And most importantly, you're not a fucking dickhead. Hey, you should be fine. You should be fine. And that last one, that's a big one. Don't be a fucking dickhead, man. There's too many dickheads in the wrestling business. There are just too many people that just real shitheads, man. Don't be a shithead out there. Be kind. Rewind.
That's an old school thing, right? You don't hey, you don't rewind, you're gonna get a rewind fee on that VHS. That's crazy. I was just talking to somebody yesterday about that. Like, when did you get into wrestling? And he's like, oh, I used to, get videos from the video store. And I was like, oh, dude, that's bringing back the memories.
Coliseum video.
Yeah, Coliseum video. Oh man, I just remember some of those things. Being sick from school, getting some Coliseum videos, watching the most unusual matches and stuff like that. And
hello, everybody. What Alfred Hayes?
That's it, man. So just the great memories of that stuff. But man, it's like coming full circle here. I intended completely to talk about WrestleMania and be the talk about night 2, since we talked about night 1, but we're we're closing in on here 5 minutes remaining in this podcast. 5 minutes remaining. So this
Five
thing
minutes remaining.
has flown by. I don't know what we've been talking about, but we've been on a tangent, I
Here,
guess. But
let me quickly see if I can, in 30 seconds, once we get there, break down everybody's perspective that I saw online about WrestleMania night 2. Are you ready? Here we go. Once we hit the 30-second marker, I'm going to show you what my news feed filled up with following that. And go, Zach. This is fucking bullshit. It was the worst fucking WrestleMania ever. That's the worst main event I've ever seen. Oh, I'm coughing with my voice. That's John Cena sucks, dude. John Cena can't wrestle. I can't believe Cody Rhodes. That was a bullshit main event. Where was The Rock? Travis Scott? Travis Scott. He took his sweet ass time getting down that rampway. He wouldn't even take a slap from Cody. He took a crossroads. He's a pussy. There it is. 30 seconds. That's what I thought. There's WrestleMania recap night 2. The show before was great, but fuck Travis Scott. The Rock wasn't there. I saw The Rock, man. He was great. I saw him on one of the interviews, and he was just like, "Yeah, sold the soul. Cody sold the soul, and John and Cody had to do it on their own, and Travis, Travis was kind of tying some loose ends up here, and it's not time for the final boss yet. It's not time for the final boss yet." And I'm just sitting here going, "You sack of shit." You know what I mean? Like, the fans are right. The fans were right. We should have got The Rock. You know what I mean? But
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what I was entertained with was Joe Hendry. That match was just like, obviously not very long, but I just remember when his music hit. My daughters were watching it with me. And it's like, what's going on? I was like, the whole crowd is singing along with this guy's fucking theme music, and just, I don't know. I've seen him very, very seldom. I don't know a whole lot about the guy, but it was like, obviously this dude's fucking over, And then I just,
6'2",
what's that?
6'2", 250, and Randy made him look like a midget. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Monster that dude
Right.
is.
But you know what, man? I loved, you talk about production so much. I loved the very end of that match where it's like he does the little spin, and I'm like, obviously the people that are there are seeing where Randy's at, but I'm like, I bet he fucking RKO's him right here. And then all of a sudden, boom, hits it. And I was like, awesome. My daughter's like, how'd you know? And I'm like, just fucking made sense, But
Well, that's the difference. That's the difference, man. That's the difference between a top level and not, man. You say, what is the difference in a promotion that's a fly by nighter or not as big? It's production, man. It's all those key things. I had someone ask me, they said, "What'd you think of my match last show?" And I'm not even going to say who it was in my company. And I said, "I watched your entrance and I watched the finish." He goes, "Oh, the finish of the match?" And I go, "No, I didn't watch the finish of the match. I watched the finish of the finish." So I watched your guys' entrance, and then after your match was over, I watched the return of the guy that came out and the segment after. And I said it was fucking great. And he goes, "Yeah, but you didn't see the finish of the match?" I said, "No, I don't care." He goes, "What?" He goes, "What'd you think of the match? You didn't watch the match?" I said, "No, I don't care. I don't give two shits what moves you did. You got your entrance was great with a lot of heat and you got over. And the finish of the finish was great and the angle got over. And now we got somewhere to go with it. Bravo. Good job, guys. Congratulations."
Right. Sounds like what I was talking to our students about last night. How was my match? It sounded good. Sounded good, right?
Yeah.
Got the pops at the right time. The crowd was into it. Match was good, right? I don't give a shit about what you did in the match.
No,
I enjoyed what the crowd thought about your match because they were into it.
100%.
Those are the people that are going to pay the money to come back and see you again. right?
Your moves don't make me money, pal. Okay, your moves don't make me money. I don't give a shit about your moves. What'd you think of my frog splash? Oh, best one I ever seen in my life. Best match I ever seen, man. Best thing I ever saw. Good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, Zach Primetime Reeb, Wrecking Ball Paul Isadora, going over.